are back at it again, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Before the Punchline Comedy Podcast. 3 weeks of absence because of some problems and issues that I personally had to settle. Well, who am I kidding? I'm just lazy. Let's just say that I am lazy, but let's consider this as a break between the first and the second seasons of like a TV series. And this, I consider this podcast to be a TV series. And the new season, of course, usually implements new characters or part-time characters become main characters. I think I just insulted my co-host.
Fucking hate you.
I know. I love you too, honey. Right here next to me is one of your favorites, the people who listen to that. They love you everywhere, in Russia, in Kolomna. And yeah, I know that Kolomna is in Russia, but fuck it. For me, Kolomna is a different country.
Actually, I have no idea what Kolomna is.
Yeah, well, in Colombia, they love you. The entire Sergio's family probably listening to this. Yeah, shout out to Sergio's family.
And Sergio.
And Sergio, yeah. So welcome to the Before the Punchline Comedy Podcast. My name is Kirill. I'm your host, and here with me now on the regular basis, my co-host Abed Ovesi.
Hello, human beings. How is everybody doing? I hope you guys.
Yeah.
And also, joining us is my shisha.
Yeah, joining us is Abed's shisha, and you hear that sound, yeah.
Sorry.
That's not me doing with my tongue, although I'm pretty capable. That's Abed's shisha doing that. All right, man. So, long time no see. The last time we spoke was the beginning of the year. You made a break back then in doing stand-up. You haven't done any stand-up for like a month, maybe a month and a half.
Well, more like 3 weeks, but 3 weeks. Let's say 3 weeks.
3 weeks, yeah. You stopped hosting on regular basis also at the time.
Yeah.
So when you came back after this small hiatus, so what changed? What did you start doing? Maybe continue doing? What's up with that?
So when I stopped, I remember like when we talked about last time, it was I was sitting with you and we were shooting like some ideas. And I was like, oh fuck, that's a great idea. And the moment that the following Friday or like Saturday at the Steal the Show Club, I went, I did like this bit, which failed miserably. But I was like, okay, now we're back to square one. Let's, build up from there.
Okay. How is that process going for you with the new ideas and stuff?
Actually, it's now it's all, like now I'm building a new set. The problem with my set is it starts with so random ideas. Like I would talk, like now I'm trying to talk about my friends, my best friends, what situations they put me in, and then talking about how sitting on the toilet and surfing on the internet, and I need to connect okay, so now how I will connect those ideas, friends and best friends and sitting on the toilet, So.
How to make it into a joke that will give you an applause break like this.
So people can hear that, yeah?
Yeah, people can
so
hear
funny,
that. I'm sorry, I had to do that because as people who are watching this on YouTube might see, we have new podcast equipment.
Actually, it's so funny that you said on the second season. So the first season was from home.
Yeah.
The second season is from other people's homes.
Yeah, the second season, the first episode of the second season is actually at Abed's place, aka the ex-whorehouse.
Yeah, the kitchen.
The kitchen of the ex-whorehouse. Yeah. Well, it's always like mind-boggling to me because I saw the first time that I came in, I saw the whole of your apartment. Yeah. Like the huge column right in the center of the couch, right next to it. The first thought that crossed my mind was, oh, it's a psychotherapist office.
Oh, really?
Like people in a queue can sit on the couch.
Yeah.
But then when you told me that it's an ex-whorehouse, it came even bigger for me in my head. I was like, just imagine like in the 90s, like people coming, like a person comes into this whorehouse, and there are like 10 people sitting on the couch in the queue, and he goes like, who's the last in the queue to fuck? And somebody goes, me, oh, I'll be right behind you, man, I'll be right next.
Oh man, we don't have a queue, don't worry. So, but the thing with this, it's unofficially a horror. That like I would like to say that we say about it is, because we have like about 95% sure, like one of our flatmates when he came to live with us, literally the first day he came in, he saw the place, he liked it. Then he paused. He came to me and he said, "Was this was this a whorehouse?" This is exactly what he said. He's like, "Was this a whorehouse?" I was like, "Why did you think that?" And then he started, telling me like, "You have a black marble bathroom, the setting of the rooms. There's a picture in one of the rooms of a naked lady.
There is a dead whore in bathroom."
Well, the ghost of her. But I was like, okay. Plus the parking we have outside. Plus, if you would come in, like when you come to the apartment building, there's a place which is now abandoned, which is like where the guards used to be. So it's like so fits that. But the thing about it is, and there was one day when our flatmates were partying to really, like, they were partying a lot. And the police came to us and they were like, "Are you back to business?" We're like, "Wait, what?" Like we got a lot of complaints for the past, like they get complaints about this place even before the flatmates lived here. So that's when we were like,
This is getting interesting.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. I was like, "Oh well, let's see where this goes." I was like, the thing about this is like you can find everything in this place. That's what's free. Like there's a safe right over there, which I reached. There's actually a safe, and later you can take like a photo and show people. There is a safe. It's like a digit safe and all this. We still haven't tried to open. Like not tried. I tried to open it like every night. I would try to numbers. I reached, but I stopped it there. I reached about the 2,800. 50, like trying a 4-digit number.
You're like Flash. I remember there was one of my favorite episodes of the cartoon Justice League was when they got into the parallel universe. Where all the superheroes are villains, and like Flash is trying to free Batman from a prison, and he comes to this digit panel and he starts just at super speed trying to come up with the.
That is exactly, but minus the super speed and minus the flash and minus.
You probably smoke about 2 or 3 shishas while you're at it.
Actually, it was 2.
That was close.
But that was like because I'm like I think I quit like since the 10th of December. I stopped smoking.
Yeah, you see.
Stop smoking. I know.
Yeah. We stopped.
Fucking irony. But like, it was just from time to time. You can't. It just comes to you. This, I want to smoke. So before you came to me, I just went to get tobacco and came back. I woke up in the morning. I want to smoke.
The most punctual person ever. I'm like, I'll be at your place at 12:30, and he looks at the clock, and it's like 12:27. He was like, "You know what I should do? I should go get some tobacco."
Exactly. That's exactly what happened. I was like, he said 12:30. He is Russian, so he's probably gonna have 15 minutes plus 15 minutes. This 15-minute rule you have that if you say that you're coming at 12, you have to come at 12:15. Which is very weird during sex.
It's the same actually at universities, Not the sex, I mean, yeah. It's a rule. If a teacher is late, 15 minutes late, then you can just grab your things and leave the
in
room.
Jordan, we have this, but it's the reverse. So if the teacher is late for 15 minutes, you wait for another 15, and then you wait for another 45.
Mm-hmm.
And then you keep on waiting until he comes, he writes your name, and then he leaves. Because if he comes in 1 hour late and you're about to leave, he would say, "Oh, you're absent." You're like, "What the fuck?" But in university, the teacher is always right. If the teacher tells you, your father was a transvestite, you're like, "Oh, where exactly was that?"
It's what part of the body was that?
Yeah, you don't care. You're like, "What kind of stockings was he wearing?" It doesn't matter,
Yeah, I get it. Yeah. Oh man, this is crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Were there any other situations when the police came here because knowing that it's an ex-whorehouse?
So, well, it's not that knowing. Again, we're not 100% sure. We're about 95%. But each time we had a party, the police would come. Each time would anything happen, the police would come to us. To the point where now they know us. Yeah, they know me and they know my flatmate. Even my flatmate, she speaks French. And one policeman, like, she was trying to speak to her in French, one day.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it's so funny, man. Like, now we have someone in the police.
Oh man, yeah, friends, yeah,
Yeah,
friends with benefits.
well, I don't mind the benefits. You know? But I hope that I will never use those benefits.
Oh yeah, I like it how we have a comedy podcast and we started by telling stories of ex whorehouse.
Oh, just wait a second. It will now go to dictatorships and babushkas, eating, what do you call it? Seeds outside.
So basically, guys, you probably realized by now that this is not actually podcast. This is like a workshop that we record.
Exactly. Isn't everything that we do is a workshop?
Well, even my baby is a workshop.
Exactly. It's so funny. I heard this about some like professional comedians who's been performing for 20, 25 years, that they reached a point where they don't have any new material, because like as a comedian you have to experience things. You have to keep on experiencing, like trying as much as you can to get new experiences give you new stories, new anecdotes, and so on. So some comedians would go, I should adopt a baby. Or they would go, I'm gonna marry this woman, have a kid with her, and then I'll see. That's an hour of material.
that is actually, because this is exactly what happened to me recently, because I told you before, yeah, like I've written only like about 2 or 3 jokes for the past 2 months, only because I don't have nothing interesting is happening in my life. Work, babysitting, that's it. Occasional sex with my hand.
Exactly. Thank you for specifying, because it would be very weird. Like work, babysitting, occasional sex. Like, wait, what?
Yeah, exactly. And what I started doing, I started digging my memory. I was like, okay, so what were the situations that could be interesting, but I never thought that they were worthy of being a joke in the first place.
Yeah.
And so I dug some of them, and both of them are about one of them, so that you would guys know how fucked up this is. One of those ideas, one of those situations is about how my wife had a brain tumor, and the other one about how she was prescribed with the medication that is usually prescribed to people with schizophrenia.
Yeah.
So that's
but and the thing with it is, like when you're saying like going back to your memories and so on. One of the exercises, like some in some books you can read, and some like professional comedians like recommend people to do, is dig deep in your memories and find out like shameful situations for you, and and just write them, and write your feelings in that time. What I usually do is, for example, if I don't have any material, for example, I would imagine myself being a father, Whoa, chill out, baby. Stop playing with my tool.
I just hear some distortion when you hit table with your hand. Yeah. That's why I thought that it's...
sorry.
No, it's okay. We're just testing out this new equipment, so yeah.
So welcome distortion.
Yeah, that's
this
fine.
would be like the co-host of this podcast, the distortion.
Distortion, yeah.
Shut the fuck up.
That's usually in my brain,
Yeah, exactly. One of the voices.
Yeah.
And I would put myself like in this situation, and what would I do?
Mhm.
For example, if I was a father, which, God, I don't know exactly if I am, but I'm not yet. So like one of the things, and how I would feel about it. How would me as Abed Owaisi, how would I react to it? But the most important part about this is some people do this, like they remember, they have memories, painful memories, shameful memories, fun memories, and what's the most thing that they forgot in doing, like this is new performers, is they don't write it.
Yeah, and it just goes out of your memory.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So when like you see this, and some of them like you see, oh, I don't wanna talk about this at the moment. The idea is like you don't have to talk about it. You just write it and write your feelings at that time, and then duplicating this feeling if it happens somewhere else. It's the idea of it is how you feel about it, and then you translate this to the audience, of course, in joke form. The audience are not psychiatrists, believe me.
Of course, yeah, right. But it's a kind of a thing that I also do, but in reverse. Because, for example, I have a bit about dating, being in a relationship, and so on and so forth. I don't do the bit about dating at the moment for one particular reason, because I'm not dating. I'm
Yeah.
married. Yeah,
Yeah.
my situation has changed, and I can every now and then dig up this old material for topical stand-up shows. You know?
But like the idea about, for example, this dating, like your experience in dating, it can, in a way, it can also be put in another form. For example, like I don't know, I was talking with I don't know who, and I was saying that for me, stand up is all about complaining.
True.
We're just complaining. And they're like, no, no, like I'm not complaining. Like if you take it from this side, you are complaining. Yes, you are like it appears to you that, but you are complaining about, for example, in the shop, they didn't look at you properly, or there was an old woman who found you sexy. You know,
I wouldn't complain about that.
exactly, that's the idea. You're not complaining, but if you look at it from one angle, it is complaining. You know, and then you put that feeling, that experience in dating in other. For example, dating. How many times you felt while like you're dating, like when you were dating, when you go to like any in a hospital and you talk to your doctor, isn't it a way of you're dating your doctor?
Kind of, yeah. When you put it like this, then
You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
it's
But they
kinda
know
like
everything.
that.
Like they're like, oh, you have colon cancer. Like what the? Oh, it's like that's sexy. I don't know. That was too extreme.
Colon cancer can be sexy, especially if you're trying to find it. This goes off the rail really quick.
You know what's so funny? You said if you are trying to find it, you're like, wait, how do you find it? How do you find it in yourself? You're like, 1 second.
Exactly, yeah.
Oh yeah, well,
Try to imagine that you're a customs officer at the airport.
exactly. That's my idea. That the idea of dating, whatever, like babysitting. How many times have you were talking to a shopkeeper who didn't understand like exactly what you want, or like when you were ordering something online and it actually was like babysitting?
All the time.
You know, like one of the things when I work, sometimes I work like with these investors. It's like fucking babies. It's like you were like, here's it, here McDonald's Happy Meal for you, baby.
Yes.
Happy Meal, like exactly.
Yeah, you can have your toy. You've
Yeah,
been a
now
good
give me $1
boy.
million. That's like,
The only difference is that an actual baby will not give you $1 million.
you will pay the fucking $1 million.
Yeah, you will pay a fucking $1 million for that
How's
baby.
your baby, by the way, now?
Good, good. She's more or less good. She's started crawling right now.
Hide all the electric sockets.
I know I've already done that because God forbid, maybe when she pisses me off, I will occasionally like free one of those sockets.
And you will be the one putting your finger inside of it. And like,
Yeah, I'll just fuck it. Goodbye.
You know what, honey? You want to sleep and you need a lamp.
Oh, exactly. Yeah.
Oh man.
Oh man, this is.
See, you told how weird it is. It'll get weirder. Just wait a second.
Yeah, exactly. But but this is actually good because this is part of what I wanted to talk today about. Yeah, we've already touched the subject of how you can. Of how you should, if you're a comedian, write some ideas somewhere into a notebook, for example, or memos, and then go back to them once you think that, oh, I don't have any fresh ideas, But the other topic that I want to discuss today is probably one of the most difficult topics to talk about, apart from the jokes. It's the audience, the comedy audience.
Yeah.
And I have my personal opinion about that. You do too. Yeah, so I
don't have anybody else's opinion.
Yeah, so I hope that this is going to be kind of back and forth. Yeah, because again, we agree on a lot of things, but we can disagree.
I hope we disagree on everything.
Yeah, so let's see how it goes. Yeah.
By the way, I don't know if I told you this. This is a habit in me. I always probably about 120% of the time I play the devil's advocate. Even if I agree with you with something, I have to go the other way. I have to go against you. I don't know why.
It's a kind of this is the thing that I implement when I host speaking club right now. It's what I call a reverse debate. When you take the position that is
debate.
reverse debate, when you basically take the position which is opposite to yours. Like you're trying to find some objective proof to the position that you don't believe in.
I love the idea of a reverse debate where you sit in front of each other and you just shut the fuck up. No one talks.
But the idea is that you're debating yourself, basically.
You never do that. You don't never take a bath. You never you never go, where am my life going?
Exactly.
That's how I take a bath.
Yeah. One part you put the soap onto one part of your head, the other one is just nothing. It's just dry.
Eggs something.
Yeah. But crowd is arguably one of the most important factors in comedy, and I think that we experienced that during the pandemic.
Ask you something? I don't know who said this thing. I can't remember, and I'm sorry for another one. Is it still a joke if nobody hears it?
If you fart, for example,
nobody laughs. Like so yeah. Like for you, in your opinion, it's like if you make a joke, in your opinion, it is. But is it still a joke if it's only you? If there's nobody in front of you? It's like, if a tree falls in a forest with no one around it, does it still make a sound?
I think that here's
philosophical shit.
But I think that it is because people have different perception, and what's funny for one for one person is not funny for the other person, because humor is objective, blah blah blah. And by the way, this will be one of the topics of our next episode. We will debate on whether humor is objective or subjective. So yeah, I wanted to debate on that.
Should we talk about it right now or talk about it later?
Save it for later. Yeah. But why I think that this can be funny because, for example, like you just threw an example, that a tree falls.
Yeah.
Maybe my brain thinks it's funny. So even if there is no one around, it will make me laugh.
Yeah.
And if some situation makes me laugh, even though I'm the only one there, it's still a joke because it made me laugh.
So you're your own person, your own self audience.
You entertain yourself, basically, yeah. I mean, the tree entertained you in this situation.
I like it. You said you entertain yourself, and I was just saying, what exactly do you watch? But never mind.
I need to use more particular words, I guess.
You should. With me, you should. There is, we were kind of like workshopping with some of the performers, and it's so funny, man, that things that comes out from their mouth that they don't see it, like one performer, I don't want to ruin his joke, but he was talking about how he went to a doctor, and that doctor sent him to another doctor, and then he said, so I went to a simple doctor.
Simple doctor.
Exactly. It was so funny for me. But yeah, the doctor comes in. He's just simple, like a doctor, with a bottle of vodka next to him. Looks at you, says hi. Sorry. But he just sits there, looks at you, and goes, "Hi, I hope everything's okay with you. Life is good." Or such a simple, humble doctor, and then tells you, "I don't know what the fuck is wrong with you."
But I think it's the same guy who cracked another joke, which made me laugh when he didn't even realize that he made a joke there. So he was talking about, and this is like for Russian people, So he was talking about the place where he lives, and I think he was talking about like Kolomna or something like this. And then he was like, "So Kolomna is a city that," and I was like, "A city!" And I started laughing, and when I started laughing, when I said it out loud, "A city," and the audience started laughing, and it took him about 5 seconds to realize why the hell are we laughing now?
It's because it's experience, it's everything, but it's also how we perceive words for us. We're also in this workshop, so I was talking about like you like when your wife was in labor, and I said so his wife wanted to give birth, and one of the performers who has a kid looked at me and said, "Wanted? you think you have a choice? And it just made me laugh. So I was like, yeah, like, from an inexperienced person, it came out like it's a normal thing. From her perspective, it's like, are you a retard? No, that's not.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, so that's that. Yeah, this is basically all ties into the topic of the audience in at comedy shows. Uh, it's one of the most important factors, like I said, for a comedy show. We've experienced that during the pandemic, because we had online shows, and we had people connecting to those online shows, but unfortunately, didn't feel the same. You want the instant reaction, and there with a delay, like about 3 or 5 seconds, they start laughing, of course, but takes like 3 to 5 seconds for your words to reach them. And when we start talking about this, in my opinion, the first thing that you need to do is you need to define the term, the phenomena of comedy audience. What is comedy audience? I'll give my perspective, then we'll go to your
explain
perspective.
Explain it to me more. Yeah.
So in my experience, I've seen people and I've heard people giving 2 definitions to this. One of them is more popular. I think about 80% of the comedians give it. The other one is less popular, which is like 20% of the comedians give it. So the majority define comedy audience as the people who came for the stand-up show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so you have a stand-up show and people come there, they know that they came there for the stand-up show, and you're performing for these people. Now, this is the majority of the comedians and people in general who think what a comedy audience is. I tend to disagree with this statement. I am more of a minority. No, I'm not gay.
Random comment Kirill.
Yeah.
That's what I'm gonna call you. Random comment Kirill.
Random comment Kirill, right.
Yeah.
But I tend to disagree with that, and I join like the minority of people who think a little bit different. So the definition of the other 20% is almost the same, but with a little but. That definition goes that a comedy audience are the people who are present in the room at the time of the show. Not also including the people who came specifically to the show, but including all the people who are there at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Because you've seen that many times before performing at different venues there, in bars especially, because in Moscow, for example, a regular venue for a comedy show is a bar, where like, let's say 70% of people came for the show. The other 30 are they just happen to be there.
Yeah.
They are there to relax.
In some bars, yes.
Yeah,
yes.
to have a drink, to eat maybe, to have fun.
Mm-hmm.
And then there is the comedy show starting and they're like, whoa, what the hell, And some of them might join in for it and have fun together.
Some of them might tell you to shut the fuck up.
Yes, exactly. And some of them might want to, nothing to do with you. Yeah. And that's what I define as the comedy audience.
Mm-hmm.
I'll explain why I define that as comedy audience, because audience is the like unattachable part. No, not unattachable. What I want to say. Inseparable. Inseparable part.
English teacher.
Yeah. Inseparable. There are like 2 English languages fighting in my head: Russian and British.
and don't forget that there's the comedian part where it goes.
Exactly right. So a comedy audience is the inseparable part of the comedy show, and it can be on your side, and you're like in symbiosis, and you create like a very fun time together. Yeah. But that minority of people who are not there for the show, they can be not in a very good and pleasant or friendly mood, and they might very badly affect the show. For example, if you want to try to talk to them like a host or any comedian, and the person's like, no, fuck off, I don't want to talk to you, so the atmosphere begins to become hostile very fast.
But then it would be, sorry for interrupting you on this, but then it would be for, like this doesn't have to do with the definition, it would be on the host or the performer to know, to notice who came here for it, who didn't come here for it,
exactly.
And know who to talk to and not talk to. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. This is one of those points I wanted to discuss later. So this is, my point is that you have to count those people in as the comedy audience because they can have a really big effect on how the show goes on.
Yeah.
So that's my position. What
No,
about you?
well, actually, from my experience, it's anybody who like I would agree with you. Sadly, I would agree with you, but like that, anybody who's present in the room is actually who is. I would like to say who is like not working in the place. You
Mhm.
know, those are considered. But in your definition, that means even the workers are a comedy audience. Yeah. Yeah, well, I would agree because everything is a factor. Everything is a factor in it. Sometimes you get that drunk asshole, or how do you say asshole but for women? Assholica, I
Es
don't
hola.
know. Asshola, I don't know.
Es hola. Hola, amigo, es hola.
Hola, amica. So you would get that person, and then you can flip the whole show just on them,
Mm-hmm.
and it would spark it up. Also, one of the things that this because we were performing in a few bars where literally nobody cared that you were on stage.
Oh,
The
yeah.
only people who gave a shit were like two girls who came here. They just saw it on Facebook, and a guy and his girlfriend who, for some reason, decided to ruin his night by bringing her to a comedy show in a fucking basement. Well, like, what? And like he doesn't speak English and she speaks English. Like, what's happening here? And but then the idea for me there, why I loved that audience, I loved it so much better than an audience who came for stand up. Because an audience who came for stand up, they are expecting you. They came here. Some of them, and this is what I think when we were performing, they don't know what they came for. They know they came for stand up, but not exactly what to expect.
Mm-hmm.
But the other part doesn't know, doesn't have like they don't care, doesn't have an inclination what's happening.
Right.
You know, and what's so great about this that if you capture their attention, you're improving.
Yeah, exactly. If you can take, and I agree with that because this is what helps a comedian improve. That if you can catch the attention of those people who didn't come for the stand-up show and make them laugh, boy oh boy, my hat's off to you.
Yeah.
If you can drag those people into the process, get them interested, yeah,
Yes.
and that's great. That means
Exactly.
that you are doing good.
No, I would agree actually with your definition that yeah, it's almost everybody. I think it's. I would just add that I don't think it's also the waiters or the workers in the place. They are part of this because they have a certain job to do, and sometimes they don't know what this job to do when it's in a comedy show.
Yeah.
You know, like you get the barman who starts becoming the barista on Facebook. You know, when you're scrolling, there's a barista who's playing with you,
Yeah.
like, and he just decides to become this amazing god of barmanhood. I don't know, is that what it's called? And you're just sitting there and you're like, fucking hell, man. He just takes all the attention from you.
Yeah, or a waitress who brings some food for the front table, yeah,
And starts taking orders while
yeah.
you perform, while
And-
you're about to say the punchline, and she goes, "So you want beer? And what exactly?" You're like, "Fucking."
so you want beer? You don't want to listen to this. No, you want beer. Come on. I need tips. I have a family.
Yeah, which exactly actually once happened at one of the bars when the waitress said, and I was performing. She's like, "Oh, he's not funny."
Jesus Christ.
That was one of the funniest things that could ever happen to me, man. She was like, "Oh, I already heard what he's gonna say." I was like, "What?"
I've heard that shit so many times.
Yeah,
Come on,
exactly.
order your fucking
Order
beer.
fucking beer and give me tips. That's all.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
This is so fun, and I wanted to expand on the idea that you just pitched, that everyone in the room, workers including, are a part of the audience. I want to say that the comedians who are there at the same time are also the audience.
Yeah.
And this is what I don't like when we have like an open mic, for example, yeah, and there are like 12 spots for comedians, and like everything is full, even before we start the show, yeah. So we have you as a performer, excluding you, you have 11 people in the room, and they're like, oh, we had no audience, but you have comedians. And if so, me as a comedian, you as a comedian, yeah, I know that you enjoy being there. You want the comedians to make you laugh because you're a fan of stand-up. You love it. Me, the same thing. I stand there, I listen to the jokes, and I'm like, I want to hear a funny joke because this is a stand-up show. Yeah, I'm performing, but I also want to have fun as an audience member.
But here's the thing about this. So then it comes back to the person on stage. Who exactly are they performing for?
Themselves or the audience.
Yeah, or the comedians.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? This is why, like, I would exclude the workers, because you have some people, me included, I used to do this, which was, for me, I think it's stupid. When you're starting, not after a few years, when you're starting and you only perform for comedians, I think that's kind of gives it, you're not doing the right thing, you know? At first, like, you have the audience is king, because you need to know if your joke works, depending like how professional you want to become. You know, you have the audience in front of you, and you have your comedians. Sometimes you get the comedians laughing at a really dark joke, and the audience are horrified by it.
Oh yeah,
You know, sometimes you get the comedian like me, standing in the back, who's laughing at you failing. I know it's a dick move, but it's me. I failed so many times. I want to fail at other people's failures, you know. And it's I love this because it makes me think. That's okay. Again, this is what I think. It makes me think this should piss you off. That I should be better. You know, and sometimes some performers, some comedians mistake it for you laughing at their joke while you're actually laughing at them.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Because in comedy, and this is very important factor as well, in comedy, there are several things that can measure how good of a comedian you are, or how good of a joke you just deliver.
How Jewish you are.
How Jewish you are, yeah, as well. Depending on how many people laugh at your nose, I don't know.
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
So yeah, and audience is the best judge, yeah. And for a lot of people, it's the only judge. Like you deliver a joke and you look at the reaction. If people laugh, you've done a great job. If people don't laugh,
Can I ask you something? So, you think a joke is funny? It made you laugh. It's amazing. You think it's the best joke that could ever be written. Nobody laughs at it. Do you give a shit?
I get pissed, yeah, because it used to happen to me very often, especially at the beginning, because I would write a joke, but that's a little bit different because there I was inexperienced and I would write a joke. I'll be like, oh, this is the best joke in the world, yeah. Now when I have this feeling, yeah, I live it for 2 hours. I go back to it and I'm like, oh, what the fuck have I just written here? But there are a couple of jokes that I personally believe are good. But I don't use them because the audience doesn't laugh.
Okay.
There is one specific joke where I'll tell the joke, yeah. So basically, when I say that I like being the center of attention, so every single time that a friend of mine on Facebook or Contact or any other social media like makes a really smart post, I immediately try to come up with an even smarter comment. I post it under the original post, and my comment gets more likes than the post itself. It like feels so freaking satisfying. It's like coming to a funeral with a better looking dead man. Yeah, and this is the joke that I personally love a lot. Yeah. And this is the joke which comedians love as well, because I told this joke to several comedians and they're like, this is hilarious.
Yeah.
But every single time that I would throw the joke, say the joke to the audience, yeah, let's say 30 people are in the room, only 5 of them would laugh at this. But I personally love this
5
joke.
are comedians.
maybe, yeah.
Well, one other thing about who are the comedy crowd. So what if it's a paid show? So you know what I'm saying? So would I don't know. This is, of course, this is managerial thing because I'm not a manager in this. But so did anybody who paid is an an audience?
Now,
Remember?
this is an actually good question because for a paid show, usually people don't pay. Like the people who come to the paid shows, comedy shows, yeah, they usually know what they're coming there for.
Yeah.
95% of people come there specifically for the show because they know it's paid, you know,
Yeah.
and people don't like wasting money for something they are not sure in. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I believe that that's the thing. But on the other hand, you can get occasional people who are like, "Oh, a comedy show, very interesting, very interesting," and they like come there expecting.
My flatmate.
Yeah, we caught it on the video, so you're busted. Yeah, and they might just drop in, and they're like, "Oh, okay, let's see that." Yeah, and let's say that the comedians who are performing that day are known for their dark humor. Yeah, but these people have no idea who these comedians are, what kind of humor they have. And they don't like dark humor. So imagine like you spend like 500 rubles, for example, not knowing that it's a comedy show, but not knowing the comedians and the material. And they're like, oh, this is shit.
Yeah.
I will never go to a comedy show again. I will never pay for it again. And in this case, this could be a crucial point.
You get what I'm saying? Like, do you consider them? Do you not consider them? But like, I think it's as you said, doesn't matter if it's a paid show, if it's not a paid show. Anybody who's present in the room is anybody who's listening to you in that time is an audience member, definitely.
There is a very and again, the audience can be split into the categories. You know, from there are some people which can be who can be more important than the others. If,
like what? I don't get
like
that.
for example, the bookers who book you for the show, if it's a paid show, and this, I think that we can actually apply that to the Russian comedy scene because we have some organizations who basically can book you for a paid show, and for these people, you need to show them evidence that you're funny.
Yeah.
You need to show them proof that you can destroy the audience with a 10-minute set, for example, and you can definitely apply this to the American stand-up scene, because they have had bookers for like the past 60, 70 years probably. And in this particular case, if you want to get paid gigs, and trust me, every single person who does comedy for an extended period of time, we want to get booked to a paid show. We want to get booked.
It's I'll tell you something. Sometimes you can. So in life in general, life advice from a fucking comedian. You get into milestones. You look, okay, so where was I last year? Where am I this year? Where am I next year? And you start kind of like, how do you know that you're succeeding in comedy? Let's say
you start getting paid for that.
Exactly. Like that's one of the like this is a very this old expression. Like, how do you know? Like, what's the difference between a professional and an amateur? The professional
gets paid for his craft.
Exactly.
Exactly.
So, and that's how you know that you're getting better. Although I would like to say, in my case, that's what it started with, and it kind of still is. But for me, I always look for this. How do I know that I'm improving better? The moment that I realize I can make almost any audience laugh. At a while, when you're performing comedy, when doing whatever you are doing, you're a driver of a bus, you work in a shop, you do whatever. Oh fuck! I lost my train of thought there. It just went, I don't know, off rails. That how do you know that when you know exactly how to do this? In comedy, it's such a fun thing.
Oh yeah,
it's such a fun thing. When I know I'll get on stage, I'll make them laugh. I know I'll make them laugh. Then I'll do, for example, whatever I want. But the moment, for me, that's a great milestone. And I think every performer beginning performer should aim for that. Should aim to know exactly this, I don't know what it is. It's a key. It's this feeling, whatever, that, okay, now I know how I will make people laugh. Like for example, when you're writing a simple joke, you have you lead them right and then slap them and then go left.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's how they will laugh. know?
Yeah.
This will make people laugh. Like, sometimes when I talk to audience members, I say, "What's your name?" Let's say their name is George, and I say, "Oh, a great Arabic name." They laugh. I don't know why they laugh. I literally have no idea why people laugh. This always eludes me.
It's the same thing as, for example, like when I'm hosting a show. Yeah, every time I host, I start by saying, it's so nice to see all of you here, because as we all know, there is no better thing to do on Tuesday evening than to spend this evening in the basement in the center of Moscow, surrounded by strangers. Yeah? And they start laughing because I know that this is what makes people laugh, because this is an absurd situation, and they realize it.
That's the idea, that the moment that's what at the beginning, it's like, remember when we were talking at the beginning, when I started doing comedy, I would get on stage, "Hi people." And then I did it like for a first month and a half. I was like, fuck them. I was not like the audience is like, I don't if I get on stage and I tell you hi, I just lost 5 seconds. I only have 5 minutes, 300 seconds.
If you don't host, if you're not hosting a show, then you can go into
definitely. In hosting, it's kind of like one rule, which is, you have to make them feel at home. You have to make them feel like, they are here. This is like when I start performing, I was very formal talking to the audience. Very formal.
Like what we talked about before we started recording. Yeah, when like I made this mistake when I'm like, "Oh, hello to you, sir." Yeah, exactly. This is how I start
here's the thing.
To the audience.
For me, it is kind of a mistake, but at the same time, maybe it isn't. You get what I'm saying? Because it depends. Like, I would ask a performer, or like, "Is that how you talk at home?" Like, there was one performer when she would say she's talking to her parents, and she would say father, mother. I was like, "Do you talk like this to your parents?"
Yeah, exactly.
What are you, in Victorian?
Mommy, daddy, maybe. Yeah.
Well, whatever. But I just asked her. Maybe she does. "Is that how you talk to your parents?" And she was like, "No." I was like, "Yeah, like, because it disconnects this." The thing is, so one of the things in comedy, which is very, very interesting to listen to, again, when you listen to how people talk, they use like some comedians, they performers, they use this formal talk, at the same time they have like the punchline. The punchline is funny. It's a really funny thing. But then again, the build up to the punchline, I just sit there, I was like, "But is that how you talk?" Like, maybe the words, is that how it's kind of like, So if I want to look at this person in a prolonged set, a 10-minute, 15-minute bit, I would instantly go, "You're boring."
Or something like that, yeah. But I can actually justify that, because that I can tie that up to the difference between a host and a comedian who has like 5 minutes on stage, yeah. Because when you perform as a comedian who has like a limited time on stage, like 5 to 10 minutes, for example, you can play a character on stage. Maybe this is a part of the character.
I get it.
Yeah, the host, on the other hand, cannot do that, because what the host should do is, like you said, I agree with you, that the host should make people feel comfortable, like at home. This is friendly atmosphere.
The thing with the persona, I wasn't talking about like the persona. Of course, everybody has their own like stage persona. Although I'm talking about beginning performers, who just began. They still haven't found themselves, and I think if anybody tells anybody, I found myself on stage, like, it's very rare. Like, we know maybe 2 or 3 performers who actually know who they are on stage.
Yeah.
What they want, like exactly what they want to talk about. You can feel that, oh yeah, this guy talks like this with everybody, but when you're just starting, you have to make yourself, because here's the thing, you have to make yourself feel comfortable on stage. When you're doing this formal talk, when you're doing this premise of, a premise, and then the punchline is something in, so is the joke funny because it all connects to it's funny, or is it funny because just the last 2 words are funny?
Yeah, that's the thing. That again goes to one of my personal most hated moments in comedy in Russia, in particular, when you're doing comedy in English, what it takes to make people laugh in Moscow, for example, when you're doing English stand-up. If you're a foreigner, you get on stage
Say bad
and you
words in
say
Russian.
some words in Russian with a funny accent. That's it. People instantly start laughing because for them it's funny. But does it make but is it a joke? No, fuck no, it's not a joke.
You know,
And that's
You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
that's what we're doing here.
are the, you see, I always try to tell performers, even myself, make the audience laugh with you, not at you.
Yeah.
I used to do that. I used to get on stage and I used to do the Russian retarded, like it's not retarded, it's like the Russian. I speak like I would say words in Russian and they would laugh. Then I realized they're not laughing with me. They're not laughing at what I'm saying. They're laughing at me. So, and in a way, a clown is an amazing thing. But to make people laugh at them, a red nose, you know. But I am not a clown.
Yeah.
You know, I want you to listen to my words, exactly what I'm trying to tell you. And that's what a lot of performers, they mistake this, you know, and it's usually why, because they think that at the beginning they have to get into, and they would say something smart. People will laugh. It's like, you are smart. Show us that you are smart, but show us in your own way, not in someone else's way. You know?
Sometimes they don't even see the the objective point of not using Russian, for example. I will not give any names, but you know, there is like a girl who does stand up, and she has a joke about she has a bit about receiving dick pics, and at some point she, in her bit, she goes like, so, and then the guy sent me the dick pic where it was written in the background, freedom to Ivan Golunov.
Don't ruin the joke.
And for me, well, she says this punchline in Russian, but I'm like, why do you say that in Russian? If you say that in English, it doesn't take anything out of it, and it's still funny. I even told her that. I was like, why? I just don't understand why Russian. And like she didn't give me any answer.
I will tell you something funny about, for example, this. So here's why. Because when the person says it in Russian, the feeling is different.
The vibe of the language, you mean?
Yes, exactly.
Maybe, yeah.
The tone of the language. When it switches to English.
I think, I get what you mean, because you're like, it's such a Russian thing.
Yes,
yeah, like,
you get what I'm saying?
It adds to that.
So what happens is that, so this is from my experience, because I perform like in 3 languages, you know, and here's, because my feeling on that, can I duplicate the feeling I do in English that I can do in Russian and I do in Arabic? Like when I performed in Spanish, it was such a weird thing because I had a piece of paper, you know, and I'm reading it, and I'm like, so what came out was me. It's like me. It's you were listening to a typewriter. Punchline. That was what you were listening to. So I still didn't, and the first time, second, I think third time, I found exactly how to say it in Spanish. You know, I still had the paper with me, but I found exactly how to make the tone, you know,
like to make it to basically deliver all the emotions that were originally there in
exactly.
English. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Maybe. Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
For example, the people who use a language to make people laugh. Why do they use that language? Like, you could also like kind of give them some leeway, like not be harsh on them, in a way that when they do that, this is what they felt in Russian. But I would love you to do that, but in English.
Yeah.
Make me see how you are. This is what I talk about improving. This is why I like when, so at one point when 3 weeks I didn't do stand up, it's because I stopped seeing people improving.
Yeah. I get it. Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? And that kind of pissed me off, you know? And I was like, because, you know, like last Tuesday at the Steal the Show Club on the show that you were hosting, I performed There was another girl after me. She performed, and then I left.
Yeah.
Because to be honest, I wasn't. I was like, I watched some of the performers do, and they're doing it in the same tone. Nothing. They're not experiencing. They're not, pushing the boundary.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this is sometimes one of the comedians even said it to me. He said, I see you get on stage and each time you do something retarded. You try to do something different. Like that I listened to in a podcast, I listened to like somewhere, I watched like, for example, I'll give you a quick example for this. Craig Ferguson, one of my all-time favorite comedians. He gets on stage and he does this. This is like in almost all of his shows. You know what he gets on stage? He goes, "I have one joke," and then he does an hour and 20 minutes. And then he goes back. He was like, "Oh, the joke."
The joke, yeah. So about that joke.
Yeah. And I do that in Russian and in English. You know, I was like, "I have one joke for you. This joke was told to be about my cousin, and my cousin in Russia did this to me." And then in the middle of it, I go, "Don't worry, I didn't forget the joke. I'll tell it to you in a minute." That point, they will laugh.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Now that's my idea. But now I'm not doing this again because I experimented with it. It's such an interesting thing to do, and I know they're gonna laugh at this. That's what I want to see in comedy. I want to see someone I would go, "Oh man, okay, that's a new thing." I'll give another example. Igor Monday. He has a story which he did in the storytelling show. Fucking amazing story. And I've never seen him do that story. And when I saw him do 15 minutes of that story, I swear I was in the back going,
"Wow,
amazing!" I was like, this actually surprised me because he has these short jokes, premise, feed line, punchline, and this one was just a story, very entertaining, very interesting. And I was in the back. I was like, yes, that's exactly what I want to see.
Yeah.
I used to do that. I used to do this long story, but now my brain goes left, right, left. Oh, tree, sky, what? Policeman. Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
And it's not a bad thing. I mean, that's like an evolution of yourself as a comedian.
Exactly.
You started from there at that point, and you basically you went to this point right now, where you're starting.
I will tell you something. So when going back to the audience, who's the audience? So when comedians are in the audience, and so sometimes you see this, and sometimes I am this. I want to see you fail, but I don't want you. I don't want Kirill to be funnier than me.
That's okay, Luke. I have the same feeling as well.
I don't want this guy to be funnier than me. Fuck off. And then some guy goes and our girl just goes and just gets applause breaks and like people laughing and it's amazing. Like, fuck. I need that. That I don't see in performers. I don't see this drive. This well, again, this is me. I don't see it. Maybe they are, but I don't see it yet.
It's another thing. Like one of the reasons why I like hosting the open mic right now, apart from giving me experience, of like improvising, talking to the audience, it's to observe all of those comedians because we have a lot of green comedians who just starting and they're trying.
That's why I call them performers.
And practically most of those guys and girls, they come to workshops like your workshop, for example, and so on and so forth. And here's the thing, why it's so interesting to observe them is because they tend to make the same mistakes over and over and over again. And I swear to God, like I heard you talking to them about like one particular mistake and they're like, yeah, we get it. And then they make it again. And it also ties to the audience as well, For example, this Tuesday, there was a girl. She went on stage and she like did 5 minutes. And in the middle of that, like you could tell, when a person actually tries to talk to the crowd, but they don't actually want to talk to the crowd. It's a part of the joke.
Yeah.
And they hope that for a particular reaction, yeah, or no reaction at all. So this girl, she goes on with her joke, and in the middle of this, she asks one of the comedy members.
Don't ruin the joke.
I will not. I will not tell the
okay.
content of the joke.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so she asks a comedy, an audience member, yeah, a question, yeah, and then she immediately, like 2 seconds later, she continues. But the guy actually replied to her, and she decided to ignore it. And I was
Yeah.
standing there. I'm like, you started talking to this guy. He just answered you something. You can't just ignore that.
Exactly.
So if you don't want to talk to people, don't provoke them into
Yes.
talking to you, because this ruins the immersion not only of that particular person, but the entire audience as well.
Immersion. Doesn't that sound like a transformer?
Yeah, exactly. but back to the point, because one of the other mistakes that people commit, yeah, that people make while performing, and that again ties to the audience and why audience is so important, is because they think that, oh, if I kind of try to talk to a person without actually wanting to talk to the person, yeah, and they reply and I ignore them, that's only one person. They tend to think that the other people are stupid, or that they don't actually notice that, which is a mistake. They notice everything and they listen to everything that you say.
Here's one of like, why do they do that? Why do you think they don't? For example, this performer, they made the first mistake, like they made it the first time, they continue doing it second time, third time, fourth time. Why do you think they don't? I
mean, I can relate to my personal experience, because I tended to make this mistake back in the day when I was nervous. Because I was nervous, I'm like, shit, I don't know what to do. Ignore it.
Yeah, I will tell you something that this is one of the reasons that I really stopped caring about. Not caring. I used to like, you remember, I used to host the open mics, and I was okay with it. Like, okay, hosting. I mean, like, not okay with hosting. I was okay as an okay host.
Yeah.
I know that make people laugh, present the performers. If a performer does well, present the next one. You know, the regular form of performer doesn't do well, go out after him, make a joke, get the audience back to everybody, prepare them for the next performer. One of the things that I really stopped is when I'm sitting in the back and I see performers sitting and they're rehearsing their jokes. Like, I don't want to listen to you.
Mm-hmm.
This is a really, I know it's a snobbish,
because you know you're not gonna hear anything new from
I
that.
really don't want to like that. It's a really snobbish shit to say, and I'm a dipshit for saying this. Like, I would love to see who they are on stage. All I see is your papers.
Yeah.
Which is, again, I know it's at the beginning and all this, but sometimes, again, we go back to you have to push your boundaries. You have to see where can you go with something.
Mm-hmm.
There was a few years ago, there was one performer who had this thing that she wanted to scare the audience, and she did it. And like, she had like 5 minutes or 7 minutes. She did it. She was happy with it, but she bombed. You know.
So what's the idea? What's the big idea behind it? Yeah.
Like, and do you remember? You're not in the fucking The Grudge. You know, you're not in The Ring. You know, the girl who comes out from the fucking television.
Exactly.
You know that you have to make them laugh. But sadly, well, she stopped performing, and although it was very interesting to listen to what she said, because she would talk about things. You're like, wow, this is like a really nice thing to talk about,
And like a new perspective you've never heard
but
before.
the funny thing is about that she always, this performer always used the same perspective. The idea is that she never changed. And at the beginning, you should try to test everything you can,
Mm-hmm.
and then suddenly, like, there was one comedian actually, who goes like on for 30 seconds, 1 minute, telling like this story, whatever, and it has a great punchline at the end. I think a week ago or I saw this performer do 10 like a 1 minute story, every 10 seconds, 15 seconds, there's a punchline. Funny, not funny, doesn't matter. But it was a punchline. And most of them were really funny. And I was like, wow, this is very nice. You know?
Improvement,
Yeah, exactly. Like it's not about improvement. It is actually, but also it's about they're checking other ways.
Yeah. Let's expand our horizon, so to
Exactly.
speak. Yeah.
Expand or
Extend. Sorry, extend.
I heard it expand. I was like, what? How do you expand
expand
horizons?
the horizon? Yeah, that is weird.
I would like to go to the shop and like, here's 3 horizons. Can I have chicken?
Exactly.
So that's a really interesting thing to say. Also, the audience is so much interesting to fucking talk to.
Oh, they are, yeah. And continuing talking about the audience, yeah, one of the reasons why I started hosting as well is because for me, I always wanted to learn how to interact with the audience and to make them laugh. And the first time after I started hosting on Tuesdays, yeah, I was like fully prepared for that. But then by the second time, I remembered what you once told me. You were like, just chill out, be yourself, and they will make themselves laugh. And this is the mindset that I go there with every single time that I host, and it works. Because, of course I need to be, aware of what's going on in the room, yeah? And I always try to talk to people who are into what I'm doing, yeah? Usually those are the people who just come and jump into the first row. Yeah, they are eager to listen to you. They're eager to talk to you. And once I start talking to those people, they're like, oh, yeah, sure, let's talk, yeah? And they will always come up with something funny, and then I will make fun of that funny thing, and we're having a good time.
Next Saturday, you should come to the Chatterbox thing. Like the Steal the Show Club, they have this show which I hosted like a few months ago, which is like an audience interactive thing. It's like stand-up and improvisation and audience participation all like mashed together.
Isn't it this Saturday?
Next Saturday, at I think 9:30 at Steal the Show Club. It's a pay what you want thing. I'm totally not plugging this in.
Well, I intend to release this episode as fast as possible because I'm in 3 weeks without anything.
Ouch. And we'll get to that, by the way. So the thing with that is when we did it the first time, you cannot imagine how amazing it was.
I mean, I still wish I was there because like every single time we talk about that, you're like, man, it was so amazing, but you were not there.
I was like, what the fuck? I was actually like in the back. I was like, what the fuck is going on here? Like, I didn't even need to do any of the hosting shit. I just got on stage, talked to them a little bit. They made themselves laugh. I was laughing at what they were saying, and then the performers, the comedians also, they got on stage. They were amazing, each and every single one of them. Some of them had some, problems because it was like I was surprising them with the games or something. It was my fault, but I like to fuck with people, and it was so great to see how an audience will react if you kind of like push that button. You have to find that fucking button. It's like the thing that woman has that nobody has ever found. I don't know, like common sense.
Sorry
for this. I just had to say it. And then like they were such on point, understood everything. It was fucking great. It's a very hard thing, to be honest, to get such a crowd, which I hope that we'll have it this Saturday.
Oh, we'll see. We'll see about that. Yeah, because this is the basically, how do they say, the epitome of interacting with the audience at the comedy show.
Actually, the idea of it was that to make them stand-up comedians.
Yeah.
To make them do stand-up without them realizing it, and they were
on point.
On point. But hopefully, you never know. Like sometimes you get a crowd who just don't want to fucking laugh.
Yeah, and that's the other topic that I wanted to cover with the comedy audience. One of the things that I Right now, I don't like, and I try not to do that. And I used to actually complain about that. Yeah, but after one of the shows at Jim and Jax that we've talked about so much
Yeah.
on the podcast, yeah, I changed my mind completely. But this is a topical, basically. We have
Yeah.
a topic of a comedy audience. Yeah, and this is the thing. A lot of comedians, a lot of them, like really a lot, and you are the witness to that.
Yeah.
After they don't have a very great show. Yeah, after they bomb, they don't do as good as they wanted to. A lot of them tend to blame the audience for that. Oh, they didn't laugh. It's like almost like they're saying it's their fault. You know, it's not that my jokes are not funny. It's the audience. That is not the case. That is never the case. People might argue with me on that one. Yeah, and again, like you just said, there are times when you would get the audience that is not in the mood. You know, that is the truth. And I've seen that audience, and at that infamous J&J show, yeah, that was the type of crowd. They just didn't want to laugh for the majority of the show. But then what do I see? Just as the thought crossed my mind that, oh, that's the audience fault, yeah? You get on stage and you destroy them. They start laughing with you hysterically. They applaud you. And I'm like, that's never the audience. It's you. And if you see that the crowd is tough, it's your job as a comedian to find the way to change it.
I will tell you something. But again, if we go back to that, I remember because you were the first. So it's very hard to be, first, which is a very interesting thing to look into. Like, why does the first comedian has it hard? Has it harder than everybody? This is a very interesting thing. But again, we go back to one thing. At one point, I realized how to make them laugh. Doesn't matter who's in front of me. If it's 15 people, I'll make 7.5, like 7 with a child. I'll make I'll make 10 people laugh. It's the thing is, this is what people don't get. Well, not people, like the performers, the new performers. You see, always it's the base.
Mm-hmm.
So remember once we were talked about it. It's like cooking. If the person who taught you how to cook was I don't want to say bad, was an inexperienced, that will stick in your head, and you will still. You will fry eggs using a boiling pan. Okay.
How's that possible, man? I need to try that just out of curiosity.
I tried it. Believe it works, but wow. If you think, if the base is wrong, everything else is kind of. This is why you get a lot of Russian performers, Russian comedians are deadpan, because they only saw deadpan comedians.
Oh yeah.
And the thing is that and they all go through this. They go on stage. Hi, how do you guys like the show? Again, I go back. You are getting 10 seconds away from your set. Doesn't matter how long it is. You're getting 10 seconds. 10 seconds. You know how fuck, like 10 seconds. Like 1, 2, 3, 4. We're already bored.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? And I didn't even reach number 5. Yeah. And you just like.
And I already want to punch you.
Yeah, exactly. Like this is what happens. With that, it's they have to understand that if you want to get on stage, you instantly have to capture them. Doesn't matter what it is. There always has to be one joke in your hand. In your pocket. I was talking about my penis. No, never mind. I was talking like you always have to have one joke in your pocket that 3/4 of the audience will laugh.
Mm-hmm.
Believe me, we have 20 people performing in English. 18 have no idea what the fuck it is. 17 have no idea what the fuck that is.
Yeah, and I agree with that because there is actually an objective reason for that because, comedians might argue with that. Yeah, oh, I don't need to do that if I can make them laugh in like 30 seconds. Yeah, but here's the thing. Why I agree with you and why I try always to start with something very quick and very funny is because they will give me credit.
Exactly.
In the first 10 seconds, if I make them laugh, they will give me credit. They're like, oh, okay, so he can actually be funny. He's just proven that to us. So let's see what he can do.
Yeah.
And and that will basically give you more time of their attention, because once you get on stage, it's usually the same. Yeah, they give you like, okay, 20-25 seconds. If you don't say anything, we're bored. Yeah, fuck you. But when you show them that, hey, I can be funny in 10 seconds or in 5 seconds, they're like, okay, we'll give you more time to make us laugh.
Yeah, they'll give you like leeway. They'll give you like some, okay, 5 minutes, we're all ears. Like literally, they're all ears, eyes, mouth, nose, everything. You have their attention. And that's what they don't get. And usually it's a simple formula. What's the first thing when a performer gets on stage? What's the first thing that the audience see? It's the performer, right? It's like how a host introduces them and the performer. So if you're a girl, if you're a guy, if you're a tomato, who gives a fuck? Make a joke about one of two things. Either how you look or the place.
Yeah.
Something they instantly relate to, and that's it. That's
Or you can make a joke about one of the comedians that they have already seen, or the host, what they were talking about. This also works.
I'll give you an example, which I think you've seen this many times. I do this, and it so came out by mistake in Russian, and it's just a pure mistake. Yeah, exactly. I got on stage and the audience instantly stopped clapping, and I just looked at it and it pissed me off. I just looked at him and I went, "Why did you stop clapping?" And the whole room just blew up. I don't mean that wrong wording. It's like the whole.
It's okay. It's okay. Look, we live in the modern, politically correct world. I don't have any stereotypes.
Tell that to the fucking airport security. So yeah, Vlad and Dimitri. So the idea is so funny. I don't know if I told you this before, that I used to have so many problems with my passport on my name that one day I came to one of the airports, and I had so many times I stopped there for 15, 20, 30 minutes that one of the officers in the knew me face to face.
Oh, you again?
That's exactly what she said. That's exactly what she said. She was like, "You again?" It was such a funny thing to happen.
You again? I hope this time you hit it very nicely. Because I'm going to go into the black depths.
Sorry. It's such a funny thing. And so the idea of it, the idea of this thing came now when I get on stage, and the moment that now I know exactly, the moment they stop clapping, I'll do this.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Why did you stop clapping? And now I have a joke. I have like a basic joke about it. Like, why did you stop clapping? I look like blah blah blah. Now I try this each time I get on stage, and if I say this phrase, the next phrase should be something different. That's how I challenge myself. That's how we as performers have to be like this. You have to challenge yourselves. There was one performer I was talking to, and they were like, "I don't want to talk about this subject." I was like, "Who gives a fuck?" I started saying this. I was like, "No, you should be talking about this."
Yeah.
If it's painful, not painful. Comedy is pain. The only difference is you make it into joke form. You make it into joke form. You don't want to talk about it. Again, write it. Look at it. There has to be something funny in it. Because if you don't challenge yourself, you're not improving. How did you finish your university, for fuck's sake?
Yeah, exactly. I get that. How did
you lose your virginity?
Exactly. And this is a very interesting case because not a lot of people see that. I realize that for me it's the next step of improvement to talk about topics that are uncomfortable for me.
I'll tell you something. When I see a performer sitting in the backstage, of course, here's the thing. You have to rehearse your set. This is why sometimes my set is shit because I don't rehearse my shit. I just got on stage and I say whatever the fuck I want, whatever comes to my head, and I have like, of course, nobody's perfect, or like, and it's not that nobody's perfect. Like I'm still green in this. I still like sometimes I have 10 seconds of nothing because I'm trying to remember what the previous words that I was talking about. But tell you sometimes, well, sometimes like what I do is when I make them laugh and I forget what I say, they remind me.
Yeah.
This happened
great.
before,
Yeah.
you know. I was like, what was I talking about? You were talking about this, and you were talking about this. I was like, yes, exactly. You're good. I'm gonna buy you something, you know. And we go on. They're there with me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They're there, and that only happens if they like me on stage. You know, it will not happen if you will get silence. You know, but the thing is that you always have to establish yourself as a funny person, and that only happens in the first 10, I'm not gonna say 15 seconds, fuck that shit, in the first 5 to 10 seconds. If you don't do that, you have to work on it. And the problem is that sometimes I'm harsh in that. But again, when I see a performer sitting in the back rehearsing, it's fucking 5 minutes. I'm sorry to say this, it's 5 minutes, it's 300 seconds. You don't have it in your head. If they were doing 20 minutes, I've seen like fucking professionals do 40 minutes. They had to rehearse their thing before. Hats off. Like, I can't say anything about that. You know, yeah, of course, it's fucking 40 fucking minutes.
Of course, yeah. You need to know. You need to have a plan at least what you're gonna talk about.
You know, yeah, you need to have a plan. You need to have your set list, whatever. A set list is like, what are you gonna talk about?
Tags, basically.
Yeah, some people write it on their hands. Some people write it on a piece of paper. They put it on the table. But in 5 minutes, and you cannot remember what you said, my friend, work on your shit. You know, yeah. And I've seen this. This is really funny. So before they go on stage, I've seen them do this. Then they're rehearsing even their own reaction.
Jesus.
You know, and it kind of, again, I'm not gonna say this is wrong, but for me, it instantly cuts off.
Not only it cuts off. You see, because I was like that. Yeah, I used to be like that as well. And I see right now the disadvantages of such an approach. Yeah, number one, it cuts you off as a comedian from the audience, because whenever you're doing that, you're creating a bubble around you and you're surrounded by that bubble. And when you get on stage, you're still in that bubble, and it's like sound isolation. You don't hear anything that's going on around you.
Yeah.
The audience reaction included. And as a result, you, like, the audience might be thinking like, oh, what the fuck did he just say? Or you might say something funny, the audience starts laughing, and you're like, why the fuck are they laughing? You know, I had no intention of making them laugh. Jesus Christ, I'm having a heart attack.
Not only that, you sounded like Bender from Futurama for some reason. And so here's the thing about the bubble. You have the bubble. Put us in the fucking bubble.
Yeah. Let us in. Yeah, maybe it's cozy there.
It's not maybe. Believe me, it's fucking cozy. You know, I was really interested in whatever a person talks about, and again, I say I was because at one point I was like, you're not improving yourself. You're not letting me in there. You're going with this one direction. You know, and not only that. So when they laugh, when the audience laughs, look exactly. The performer keeps on talking.
Yeah.
You know, they even
that's the first indicator that they have no freaking idea what's going on right now around them.
Yeah, you know, they're just okay. This is my script. This is actually what one performer said. Like, this is my script, and I was like, motherfucker, don't call it a script. Another performer said, monologue. I was like, are you in a TED talk?
I actually I'm doing that with my jokes right now. Whenever people laugh, and I like I think that no, I don't think I know that one very nice thing that I now can tell is after I deliver a punchline, yeah, I can see by the initial reaction that they will start laughing more and even applauding if I keep the pause for a few more seconds. I give them the window to do that.
Yeah.
More
Yeah.
often than not, I hit on point, yeah, with that thing. Sometimes it doesn't. I don't get it,
It
but who
happens.
cares? Yeah. But anyway,
Oh, the pause thing.
yeah, the pause.
It has it's so funny, like how yeah. Sorry. I will get to that.
Yeah, and the pause right there is very important, and this is one of the other things that I heard that from another comedy podcast. Don't remember which one. So they were talking about how you can keep the crowd even laughing and add something to that when you make this pause with your facial expressions. When you basically show the facial expression that ties into the punchline that you just delivered, and that is something that I'm trying to do right now, and it's freaking awesome to do that.
I will
Like,
tell you
really
something.
nice.
I will tell you something. This is from Gary Goldman's when he was giving out his tips. If you can make a gesture as a punchline, do the gesture. Don't do the punchline. So, if you have words, but you can do those words in a punchline, it's much funnier.
Exactly, and
It's much
and
funnier.
I had this past Tuesday when I was hosting. So we had a comedian who was of pretty small height. Yeah, so he was pretty small height, and he kept playing with the mic stand when he was performing. And as a result, by the time he left, he put the mic stand as low as possible, and he put the microphone in there. So it was at the height of my penis, basically, yeah, when I got on stage. And he gets off. I go there. I look at this mic stand, and you know what? The music cuts off. People are silent. And I look at this. I look at the people. I look at this. I look at the people, and they start laughing. I knew that this was going to happen. And then, like, I was thinking, like, maybe I should go down, sit right there, and just start talking. Yeah, but then I just took the microphone, and I was like, look, man, we realize that you're a pretty small person, yeah, but please don't bully the mic stand. It did nothing to you.
One thing that you just said, again, this is language. You're like, and he got off. Just specify, like, he got off the stage because he got off. That's a really dirty meaning for me. Like, what, did he get off? Like, and you know, it's like, oh.
Abbott's vocabulary of phrasal verbs.
Oh man,
ladies and
Urban
gentlemen.
Dictionary. Very guilty about Urban Dictionary.
You know, like talking about Urban Dictionary, just off point a little bit, yeah. So I had a lesson with one of my students yesterday, and he specifically asked me to teach him more slang, jargon, and phrasal verbs. And we were watching The Office, one of the episodes of The Office. And in the middle of the episode, so there is a telephone conversation, and one of the characters goes like, hey, is basically the Godzilla coming? There's like a lady who's an investigator, and he goes like, maybe. And then the guy goes, hey, I wanted to ask you for a very long time about one thing about her. Does the carpet match the drapes? And I'm like, the fuck does that mean, you know?
You don't know what that means?
I didn't know, so I went to Urban Dictionary, and I'm like, that's the question which is usually asked when you wonder if the woman's hair color matches her pubic hair.
Yeah, if it's a natural blonde or natural redhead.
Yeah. And I'm like, Jesus Christ. So I didn't know that. I kind of guessed, but my first idea was, maybe he's talking about the lingerie, you know, if the top matches the bottom, but it went deeper than that. See what I did there?
At first, I thought it meant eyebrows and the hair down there. That's at first what I thought. Then I was listening to. I listened to it again. I was like, wow, that was such a funny.
That's about the language, yeah. Because really, like, sometimes, especially with me, you know, I tend to make such mistakes, like expand, extend, yeah, for example. And And I remember, like, when I was testing a new joke, and I was talking about my daughter, and I was like, I like watching her develop. and you started laughing, and the comedians started
brilliant.
laughing. They're like, develop. And I'm standing there. I'm like, why the fuck? So it took me 3 seconds, but I paused, you know. I was like, and then I'm like, yeah, develop. You know, my daughter is like a new smartphone. You know, next year I'm getting a brand new model.
I will tell you something about when performers reread their things or when they're rehearsing. So what I used to do, but now I do it on stage. That's the only difference. And I think if I would do it like writing, it would be so much better. So when they write their whole set, it's a great thing to do. They go back to memorize it. They don't go back to improve it. Yeah. So like in the workshop that we were doing, so this storytelling workshop. So I would like I don't want to say teach people. I just like show them how one of my really favorite comedians, Christopher Titus, writes. And one of the things about it is that I make them tell me a story, and and I can see them. They want to say, "Oh, I have a joke." I'm like, "Fuck your joke." Yes, with offense, not no offense, with offense. Fuck your joke. Tell me your story. And they say their story. And now we're sitting like 4 or 5 people, and I make each one of them focus on facts in that story. And each one of the other performers, they start, writing which facts did they see. And here's one thing that I make them do. After that, they wanted to choose. Don't start with jokes. What facts was in this person's story? And for example, Kirill says, fact number 1, fact number 2, fact number 3, fact number 4. Then I tell the other person, like the other participant, the other performer, what are the facts? And they say, fact number 1 is the same, fact number 2, fact number 3, fact number 4, fact number 5.
That's actually very interesting.
Yes.
And that ties up to the idea that even they are not comedians at that moment when you ask them this question. They are the audience. They're like, so what interesting have you heard in this story?
Yes.
And then we will work off of that.
I'll tell you when it gets freakier. It gets much freakier. So I tell the third person what facts do they have. And they say, I found the same fact. I was like, don't tell me the same fucking fact. What facts did you find? And they say, fact number 1, fact number 1.5. They found a fact between number 1 and number 2. And that now you have 7 premises to new punchlines, to new jokes. And they were sitting, I was like, and then they started like shooting punchline. They started shooting ideas. It was such an amazing thing to see them interact with each. And I'm sitting there. I was like, this is what I want to fucking see on stage. I don't want to see you try to be a smart person. I want to see you being a funny person.
Exactly. Yeah.
One of them literally wrote to one punchline, like one premise. Amazing punchlines. I'm telling you, man, mind blowing. But that person gets on stage and he's zero funny.
Delivery?
It's not about delivery. It happened to all of us. You, me, everybody. But with me, I found out that's when again, my comedy buddy, Yegor, he was like, why are you talking like this? You don't understand shit about this.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And the idea of it was that I was trying to be smart. It's like, don't try to be smart. Don't
smart.
Not even about be smart. It's like they want to show you they're smart. No. Don't show them you're smart. Being funny, that's much better than, trying to be smart or showing them. Yes, you are a smart person, but when you are being funny, in that workshop, they are all funny people. And believe me, man, the ideas are insane. And I told them, when we're doing like when, for example, Kirill is giving us a story, Kirill record what we're going to say right now and go back to it or write it. One of them, which I can see that performer is really trying to work hard, and it's fucking great. That performer asked me, like, could you send me what facts did you find about my story?
Yeah.
And I was like, yes, that's exactly what I want. I want to see someone who has this fire, like, oh, I want to know more, I want to get more, you know. So that's the whole thing. They're trying to show that they are the smartest tool in the shed. You don't have to show that you're the smartest tool in the shed. Believe me, the audience are not there to watch you TED talk.
And that can even backfire on you, because if you are trying to be way too smart, then the audience might think, oh, he's trying to diminish our intellectual abilities.
Which happens actually to some of the performers when they directly like, oh, you didn't understand this.
Oh man, I heard that so much when, for example,
no names, believe me.
No, I'm not gonna name drop anyone. Yeah. Because when I hear it sometimes, when the comedians say a word, oh, you don't get what it means, let me explain to you what it means, and blah 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 blah. You can make fun of that as well.
Exactly.
Because remember what happened at one of the shows when a comedian was struggling on stage and talking about mentioning some word, and then the audience just didn't understand this word, and the comedian goes, do you understand this word? Oh shit. And you can see that comedian was struggling, and you just shouted, explain them what it means, and then they start explaining to the audience what it means, and that brought them to laugh. Because sometimes comedians not even sometimes, very often comedians don't even see how they can make it funny.
Why do you think that? Why can't they? Why even this also happens to me? It happens to everybody. But why do you think this happens to us?
We're too fixated on our own shit.
That's one thing, and the other thing, sometimes I think it's assumption.
Assumptions. That's what you told me a long time ago, and that is also true. Like when I tell you a new joke, and you're like, okay, but what does it mean? And then I explain to you, I go, okay, now I understand. But will they understand it? And I'm like, I hope so. See, you're assuming.
Yeah.
Do you assume that they will understand that,
or will you make
do
them?
You know that they will understand that?
Like the idea is that make them understand it. We go back to the one about the freedom of this journalist thing joke.
Mm-hmm.
I was in the back. I was like, who the fuck is that? And I bet there were people, like I heard people laugh, like a lot of people laugh. And again, I heard people who were foreigners who was like, who the fuck is that?
It's the same thing with the wording as well, because the way you say it, you have to be aware of where you are. We are in Russia. We are in Russia. And in this country, we have plenty of people who can speak English, but there are some particular things that these people might not understand, cultural things. Like, for example, one of the...
Like curtains matching the drapes.
Like curtains matching the drapes, Or if we talk about a particular example, one of the performers, so the performer was talking about, like, comparing the United States to Russia, and at one point, they throw the analogy of like Texas wall. This Texas wall and IRS. Now, people who have no idea how the tax system in America works, and people who have no idea what and a lot of people have no idea what the Texas wall means, If you would say Trump's wall, people know what it is because it's known everywhere. But Texas wall, why Texas? People will understand that. How do you know that? You're assuming things now.
And the thing with this, why does this happen? Like, remember when me and you, we sit and we workshop. So it's a very actually good idea that the comedians are also the audience. That's a very good thing. That's a very good thing to say, because like when you and I workshop, I sit there and like you tell me something, I was like, why will, like, I don't get it. And I tell you this, I don't get it. And then you start explaining it to me. What happens is that with the comedians, that why? Because I put myself as an audience member. So it's such a funny thing that the audience are the smartest people. They're babies.
All in one. For the price of one.
And actually, I was thinking of a workshop, which you give me this idea to reach the punchline, not reach the punchline, to make a joke in as few words as possible.
Mm-hmm.
I was actually thinking of how can I make this into a workshop? You know, it will become kind of one-liners.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because it's a good thing to do one-liners. Because one of the things when you have a story and you break it into facts, you can actually make one-liners about the facts. You know, but how to write this, how to make this, that's a kind of still kind of something that even I have to work on.
It goes to the same idea that, you know, like I share your mentality right now at the moment, yeah, because I used to not share this idea with you, that you need to feel your time on stage with punchlines because you only get so much time, especially in English, especially in Russia. And it all goes to the idea, because I keep arguing with comedians about that, and they're like, oh no, I have a long story which has a brilliant punchline. Why do I need to do that? The problem is that your story is 90 seconds and there is only one punchline in the end. Now, first of all, is it worth the 90 seconds of the audience? And number two, that shows, for example, to me, if I'm a booker, for example, who books comedians for the shows, to me, it shows that you have one story, 90-second story with only one punchline.
Yeah.
And that's it. You know, sorry, I just want to finish my thought. That's why you have to be aware of the time you have on stage. This is what comedians don't think about. You think about it because you're thinking objectively, yeah? So my time on stage shows how good I really am.
Yeah.
And that's why my time on stage should consist of punchlines as much as possible.
Yeah.
And I agree with that, you know, but a lot of people just don't understand
one thing. So who said it? I can't remember who said it. I read it in the book. I think it was Stand Up Zen. Be the comedian who you want to see on stage. Now, for me, if I would get on, I would like to see someone who's having fun, someone who's how do you say this? Being as much funny as they're pushing themselves, like you can see that, and it's a handful of people who do that at the moment in like, let's say in English, because we're like in English stand-up. One of the things going back to this is why I'm saying be the comedian who you want to be. Like, that means you have to be an audience member.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
right.
And when I write with you, when I workshop with the performers, I consider myself, I objectively put myself as an audience member. You know,
right?
I want to laugh at what you're saying, and the problem with some performers, if not a lot of them, is that they just want to talk. They have this platform where they get a microphone and they just talk. You know. And they go, oh, people will understand what is it? Curtains match the drapes, or drapes. Yeah, curtains match the drape.
Mm-hmm.
People will carpet. Sorry. Retard. It's the drapes are the curtains. Fucking stupid. The carpet, you know, the drapes match the carpet, or the carpet matches the drapes. That's what makes them laugh. They don't see, will the audience get this?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Exactly.
You get what I'm saying? And one more thing, if you have a word that they won't understand, and you get, will a Russian audience understand? What's a word? Will understand zebra crossing?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yeah.
This is what I was like. Will they understand zebra crossing? So I was thinking, like, this is from my own experience. I was like, should I put crossroads? No. What should I put? And then I started asking other people.
It's the same thing as with not only in comedy. Like, finish your idea.
I'll tell you, on Tuesday, when I said zebra crossing, in my head I was like, should I say the Russian word, which is пешеход?
Пешеходный переход.
Yeah. Well, I just said
it with accents.
Right? Yeah, I don't know. Пешеходный переход.
Пешеходный переход, ёпта.
You know, should I say that? You know, well, but you can also say пешеход, no?
Пешеход, it's pedestrian. It's a person.
Like the
No, it's a person.
really?
Yeah.
I always thought that this thing was a peshechod. So, anyways, like, should I say this in Russian? What I thought,
Mm-hmm.
or should I say zebra crossing?
Mm-hmm.
So, at first, you know what I used to call it? Just what crosswalk.
Crosswalk. Uh-huh. Okay.
And when I did it the first time, people are like, eh?
Paraphrasing one of our good friends, comedians. Last time I checked, nobody laughed.
I
like how he says that.
Yeah, like, should I crosswalk? And I still told it. So I said it the first time, didn't work. Second time didn't work. So I went to my friend, and I was like, "What the fuck do you call this?" I actually asked.
Jeez.
Okay, you have to.
You have to make sure.
There's like, why? Is it the audience? Is it me? Is it how I say it? Then, what the fuck do you call this? Then he told me, "Oh, zebra crossing." I was like, huh? Even I didn't know the word zebra crossing. And then I was like, and by the way, I have a new joke about it.
Oh, okay.
Which
Nice.
right now I thought of it. It's like now I think, oh, this is funny. Now, so I need to do it. So,
It's like it all goes down to the language. For example, the word marshrutka. Yeah, it's only in Russian. It's only in Russian. You don't get this word in any other language.
And with this, and he was like, oh yeah, zebra crossing. So I was like, okay. So I did the zebra crossing, and then now here where I wrote it. So I was like, zebra crossing. Will they understand it?
Mm-hmm.
And then I thought of, I have a punchline here.
Exactly.
The cars actually stop.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that made them laugh. Then, like, I have a continuation for it. That's what I'm saying is, like, you have your perception, then look at it from an audience's point of view. Of course, you have to try it. I'm not saying don't try it.
Of course, yeah.
You can't from the beginning, like, oh, they will not understand crosswalk. No. You have to try it. And then you have to question yourself.
Yeah.
Why they didn't laugh. One of the greatest things I've ever done, and I still do, but now I don't write it. It's in my head.
Okay.
So I know Kirill will laugh at the cars actually stop. I go do it on stage. Did Kirill laugh at the cars actually stop? One line. This is in my head. It's like one line. Then I try it again. Many people laughed, They understood it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You get what I'm saying? That's one thing you have, like, again, it's fucking stand-up. You have in stand-up, your feedback is instant.
Yeah, you get the instant feedback. That's why you need to record yourself.
Exactly.
And
you have to be really, and this is why in the storytelling workshop, I tell performers when they come, I tell them, be prepared to be destroyed.
Yeah.
You're not like destroyed as in we're going to insult you. It's like you're going to shoot an idea and it will be shit.
Yeah.
And it won't be used.
Yeah, yeah, I agree.
And
I agree with
they
that.
have to be okay with self-criticism. If you are not okay with self-criticism, fucking go work somewhere else.
Don't do stand-up. Yeah,
Don't do
exactly.
fucking stand-up.
And this ties to the idea that I wanted to actually spit out. Yeah.
Yeah.
That, spit out. Yeah.
Fuck off.
That's my idea.
At least buy me dinner.
I will.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So the idea is this. Back in the day when I did not record myself, I was thinking like, why don't I do that? Yeah, apart from that, I can find it on YouTube. But then again, I was like, why don't I do that? And now I realize that is the thing. I was afraid not only to see that people don't laugh at the jokes. Yeah, I was afraid that I will see the person that I don't like, a comedian that I don't like. And here's the thing. This is the best way to do that. If you come up to a person, for example, to a comedian, a performer, okay, and you ask them, you ask them, like, so what kind of comedy you actually like, yeah? And if they say, for example, Mark Normand, a guy who's like 10-second punchline. Yeah, punchlines every 10 seconds. A punchline machine.
A machine gun of punchlines.
Yeah, let's say Mark Normand. Yeah. And you'd believe that the person actually wants to be like that. He wants to be as funny as possible. And then the person gets on stage and they like drag out a 90-second story to a not very impressive punchline. And if they record themselves, they're going to be very scared to look at that recording and be like, oh, I am the guy that I hate on stage.
This is actually a very interesting way of looking at it. Like, I never actually thought about it. I just hated my fucking voice.
And that's why I hated watching my older recordings. Yeah, because I realize right now that I was that guy who would tell a 60-second story, 90-second story with only one punchline, and it would be boring. I would be like, Jesus Christ, this is boring. But wait, that's me talking.
Yeah.
And that is why right now I like watching myself. I like watching myself. Yeah. I like watching my sets. I watch the videos of me performing. See, there's a new joke in there.
That's a funny thing to say, man. That's a funny thing to say. Yeah, sorry.
And like for example, even when I fail, like we had a comedy rap battle with Dasha, which I lost. But every now and then I would watch it back because I think this was good, that we all were delivered, and I was satisfied with how I performed there. Yeah, even though I lost, I was like, this is great, And I watch it back every now and then, like, this is good, actually really good.
The thing with that's actually a really interesting thing. But one of the things what helped me as Abed Oaisi on stage, it was after my performance. I used to go to my friend Yegor. We used to go smoke shisha, and I would tell him, destroy my set, just rape it. And the thing is, that's me. That's what I used to do, and it helped me a lot. The performers now, we don't. So here's the difference between us and Russian comedians. Us are as performers. I know that we want to help each other, but we don't have the initiative. This is why when the guys, Oleg Denisov and Igor Monday, they had their workshops, they were training people how to do those. It was fucking great. People were, I want to do that. When I was doing this storytelling, I'm telling you, I saw in people, even in myself, I was like, motherfuckers, you are funny. Yeah, I was like, motherfuckers, and it's so weird, like.
Why are you not like this on stage?
Yes.
Why don't you bring that?
I will tell you why. Because they didn't know what I saw in them. They were like, we didn't know that this would work. They didn't know that this is how it's done. It is actually, I don't want to say it is how it's done, but it's one way.
And it all goes down to one other thing, and I see that a lot from people who just start performing. Yeah. I know at least 2 people who do that, and who come to your workshops, for example. They come to an open mic 1 week.
Yeah.
I hear them deliver jokes, and I see funny in that. I giggle, I laugh.
Yeah.
And I see the potential in these jokes. I'm like, if only you would work on that joke.
Yeah.
The next 2 weeks, they keep coming twice in the next 2 weeks to the show, and they use different material. I'm like, and then I came up to one of them and I was like, why are you doing that? What's about that that joke from 2 weeks ago? They're like, oh, well, I checked it and now I'm checking everything else. I'm like, instead of jumping straight into checking other stuff, work on those 5 minutes.
I'll tell you exactly. I'll tell you what also helped me at the beginning. Of course, listening to podcasts, listening to everything. So what I did was, so I have a 5-minute bit. It's still a weak bit. I had to make it a tight 5 minutes. Then I would switch to the next one. Then I would switch to the next one. You gotta say, it doesn't matter how long. With me, it takes so long. With you, I've seen you like do right on Thursday. do it on Friday, on Saturday it kills. For me, I have to try it again and again and again, and then I got it. I got the ending. I got the. It's how to write a joke. Like when I was sitting with them, I was like, "What is a joke? How to write a joke? How to end a joke?" And I asked them something. This is actually this is a very important thing. And remember, once with me and you, we write, and I just tell you and.
Yeah.
Yeah. What? Okay. So, in some performers' heads, or it was also in me. Ha ha ha. That's it. Great joke. No.
No, it's not a great joke.
No. That's not an ender. It's a starting of something. This is why in Russian comedy, it's stronger. Although it's kind of weird because you can see it in every between 10, you will see it in 8 performers do the same thing, which is ha 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 ha. You gotta say it's like small joke,
big joke,
big joke.
Yeah,
small joke, I heard it, big dick. I was like, what?
This is like a comedy porn right now. Small joke. Wow, that's an impressive joke.
And then you shoot Viagra in the motherfucker.
My sister laughed so hard at this joke, over and over and over again. So this is getting weird.
Yeah, it started like it got weird about 2 hours ago. They what they think is this. So I was sitting with them and I asked them something. Have you ever laughed at one joke where it went ha ha ha? You said, and they were all sitting there. It was like, that means the moment you feel like that joke is not complete.
Yeah, exactly.
You get what I'm saying?
For me, as a person who writes the joke, for me, it's like the joke is not complete if I feel that I can add something to that.
Exactly. It's you did not like, for example, you didn't like, it's basic storytelling. It's basic writing a story. You have the
you have the beginning, you have the like a premise. Yeah,
yes,
again, it all ties to the premise, and then you have the climax / punchline.
Before the climax, there's some raising the stakes.
Yeah, raising the exactly.
Here's the thing,
and the payoff, basically.
I'll tell you something funny. For a really long time, I didn't know what
at last.
For a really long time, I never knew what fucking raising the stakes meant. I thought it meant like you have steak, you raise it, and you go buy it or some shit like that. It's like, what the fuck does that mean, raising the stakes? And then my friend Yegor, he was explaining it to me. Because like when we did improv, he told me like how they do an improv scene and like they raise the stakes. I was like, okay. It's the same in comedy, in doing a punchline. How do you close the whole loop? They don't get that. It's still empty. You have to close it with a joke that, a big joke. And I don't know, man. Like I would really like to see people.
This is one of those things, wrapping it up. Yeah, this is one of those things that I actually liked about Oleg's workshop, because he threw one very interesting idea, one very good idea, that every time that you get on stage, you introduce the conflict. At the beginning, you introduce the conflict, yeah? Then you expand on this conflict, yeah, with yourself. Yeah. And the ending should close this conflict.
Yeah, it's basic, yeah.
This is it. It all comes full circle, basically.
Yeah, of course, but I will tell you something. How many people know that?
I think that this is interesting how it works. You know what my opinion about that? I think that a lot of people know that, but not a lot of people want to actually admit that they know that.
Actually, I have. It's not that they like. If you tell it to them, they're like, "Of course, I know that." And then.
But why don't you do that?
Have you heard your fucking self?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
This comes back like so. You see. In their head, okay, that's it. I have this laugh. This is why they don't get, and I think they should be on stage destroyed. There should be like, when you get on stage, and if you don't do something well, you should fuck off the stage.
And that's the finishing. That's the final nail into the topic of a comedy audience, because
I love that we were talking about comedy audience. Now we're talking about comedians.
Yeah, but this is exactly what the comedy audience does to you. And again, this is one final thought. Yeah, this is what I don't like about many comedians who come to open mic, because I hear them a lot. Let's just say that I know that they have polished their jokes. Yeah, I heard the jokes several times for the last several months. I know that they work, and they come to an open mic where you're supposed to test your new material. That's what open mics are for.
Yeah.
But instead of testing something new, they go with their old stuff. And when I ask them why, they're like, they try to find a loophole to avoid answering this question. But I know why they do that. It's because they're too afraid to bomb.
Well, not only that. So I'll tell you why it's done. You once saw me do this. I don't know if you remember. I was sitting in the back. You were next to me, and I had my phone, and I had a count, and I had a timer.
Yeah.
And I was checking how long does it take to reach a punchline.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah,
do
back
that.
in the ruined days.
Do that. I always do that. I do that with myself. I do that with you. That was so dirty. I do that with every performer. Every performer. I know it sounds shit, but that's what I do. Why is this? So why do they do this thing? Let's say they have a new material. The problem is their old material takes 3 minutes.
Yeah, and instead of spending that time to actually check your new material, they go with
what happens is, because their old bit, the bit that makes people laugh, the bit that people will start listening to them, is 1 minute, it's 2 minutes. By the time they tell those 2 minutes, they have only fucking 3 minutes to tell their new joke.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Which is not enough
exactly,
most of the times.
You know, and then they have to close. That's why sometimes when you flash them, look on their face, they freak out.
Fuck.
They're like, fuck,
Yeah.
I have to finish. Bleh. You know, it happened to everyone. It's such a funny thing because you see them freak out, to be honest. You know what? I like, no, you don't have, motherfucker. Get the fuck off the stage.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm more radical with that, because I tell them whenever I host, I come to them, I'm like, at 4 minutes, I'll flash you with my phone. That means you have 1 minute. So if you're still on stage by the time that minute expires, I'm raising the music, you get the fuck off the stage. That's it. And I've done that several times already.
Yeah.
Because fucking respect other comedians. You're taking time from them.
Other comedians.
Yeah.
Exactly, let's finish.
And that's the thing. And that is, again, ties up to one...
sorry, a quick thing. Also, about the comedy audience thing, and the comedians, how do this loop, how it works. They get on stage, the comedian, the performer, whatever. They want to tell their thing. They forget that the audience have to laugh.
Yeah, that too.
That's what, like, the audience thing. You see there, we come back. You see how you close a full circle. We come back. If you tell us a joke to an empty room, is it still a joke?
Yeah.
You know, they're basically that's what they're doing. They're telling a joke and nobody is laughing. Is it still a joke?
That's a very good question. I think you can define a joke in my head. If a joke makes at least one person laugh, you can consider that a joke.
Great. But you're the one who made it. Are you that person?
And that ties to the question if a joke is good or not.
You see? Are you that? Exactly. How do you know?
Yeah.
How do you know it works?
The audience.
You have to have the
audience. They
audience.
are the judge.
That's where they disconnect from the audience. They do this. You hear one person laugh, and they think, "I am."
Or your favorite, when a comedian cracks a punchline and they start laughing themselves. That is your favorite.
Don't put it in. This is me, man. I laugh at my own shit. But here's the thing: if you watch my set, I always make sure they laugh, and I laugh after
with them. You're laughing with them. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, exactly.
This is very important.
It is.
I have to make sure that they laugh. You know, if they don't, that means it's shit. Sometimes you can go, fuck off, it's funny, but you have to be playful.
Yeah, I agree. And then again, it all ties to one very simple logic. When you do stand-up, when you decide to do stand-up, you should not, you must not be afraid to shit yourself and to embarrass yourself on stage with with bombing, for example. It's a natural process. This is how you can get better, and this is how you find out whether the joke is good or not.
Even if you are afraid, I agree. You should not. You mustn't be afraid. But let's say you are. Work on it.
Yeah, sure. Sure, do that.
And one of the things, just a quick thing, one of the things that the performers we don't do, and the difference between Russian comedians and the English-speaking comedians, they don't workshop together.
Yeah, they don't.
Go to Jim and Jack's. Go to Steal the Show, okay? And after the comedy show, nobody goes,
let's go and write.
Let's go. Nobody goes when they're sitting. Nobody goes, hey man, do you think this is a game? It's an amazing. You see me always do it.
Yeah, I mean, we do that all the time. Yeah.
You text me, it's like, hey man, this is fucking funny. Is it funny? You see me, it's like, hey Kirill, do you think this is funny? And you see me laughing at myself, and then you tell me what the fuck it means. I was like, Blin.
Yeah.
Fuck, if he doesn't think it's funny, that means I have a problem. They don't want to ask. Wait, but it's the ego. Fuck your ego. Don't. That's the only thing. Just work on it, and it's what's better than working on it with other performers. You think they're good, take their opinion. One of the best jokes I had was I went to Igor Monday, and I told him, what's funnier, saying it like this or saying it like this? And he went, saying it like that. And I get on stage, hats off to him. But before I asked him, I tried it before, and then I tried my version of it. And then I tried his version of it. I had the two punchlines, but I was like, I should ask him.
Mm-hmm.
An experienced comedian. He's very good, hosting for many years. I was like, and he said this. This is for him. This is much funnier. And I tried it, and it's funnier. It's there's one guy who told me, I don't want to do a joke you gave me because I am afraid that one day I'll do it and you'll be in the back going, that's my joke. That's what I told him. You see, this year, it's so bad about it. He thinks he will have only this joke.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
You get a sad thing about it. But
I came up with a joke about explaining what an open mic actually is to the audience. Yeah, because we go into that routine. We explain what the show is about. Yeah. So I want to say that this is where comedians test out their new material. It might not be very good at the beginning, but then a couple of months later, they will improve it. So basically, you have a very unique opportunity right now to sit at the show, to listen to the raw version of the joke, and then 3 months later, come to the show, watch a comedian kill with that joke, then turn to your friends and say, I was there when this joke was shit.
Yeah. Or they can go like, and then 3 months later, you will be in the United States. Like, fuck, why are you still in Russia?
Exactly. Yeah.
What the fuck? Why are you still like, really? You come to the comedy show every 3 months? Although that means it's a good comedy show, and it is, to be honest.
Yeah.
I'll be really fair to it.
Okay. Well, that's about it, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for listening and for watching this on YouTube as well. This is, like I said before, episode 1 of the second season Before the Punchline comedy
Before the Punchline on the road.
Yeah, Before the Punchline on the road. We're going to continue bringing you episodes weekly now that I can actually move remotely and come to comedians' place, to sit down and record with them.
Nice.
That was a very interesting episode. We discussed a lot of things like the crowd.
Fuck off. I like how that was a very interesting episode. That means that it was not an interesting episode, but it might be. What the fuck?
Yeah. No, for me that was very interesting, discussing the fact that the audience has what is a comedy audience, and how basically to come to the way of writing and delivering the joke.
Yeah.
Which we will go deeper into that explanation in the future episodes. So once again, thank you guys for listening. Stay tuned, and the next episode will be released next week.
Yeah, thanks a lot, man. And, hope to see you for the next week. And we'll listen to your podcast in the future, hopefully.
Ciao.
Ciao. See ya.